Hey everybody, wanted to do a video on lease agreements. No, I made me a little list over here. I like doing a little lists. I forget stuff easily, and little lists seem to help out. But first, let's talk about renting versus leasing, because honestly, I didn't know this. Like when I started, you might know it and it might be like, oh yeah, he's an idiot. I was an idiot. I didn't know. I didn't know the difference between renting and leasing. Um, if you're renting, that's saying you're renting a house month by month. Leasing can be a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year agreement or whatever. These people, these tenants are going to lease this for X amount of years. I wouldn't rent. Doing month to month, that leaves you really in a crappy position. And a lot of places, if you put a lease agreement in place, you need to put on the lease agreement, this is the end of it. You can renew your lease. Your lease can be renewed. So if you do a year, and let's say the year ends, what is this? This is June. All right, let's say they go in July. The lease is up the following July. They can renew the lease, but we're not doing month to month from there on out. And a lot of places will say once a lease is up, then it becomes month to month. And it might even be something like you can't. It might be a law that says you cannot go month. You can't make them renew this lease. In that case, I would suggest putting something on that lease saying, at the end of this lease, you will go to month to month, but your rent will increase by 25% or 20%. So you want kind of a high number. You don't want it to say, oh yeah, it's going to go month to month, but it's only going to increase, 10%, because let's say your regular lease says it's going to increase by 10%. So you want your month to month to be higher to kind of, steer them away from that. And you want to put on your lease that the rent is, put on your lease agreement that the rent will increase at the end of the agreement by X amount or percentage. I'll go as far as to tell you, I put this on my leases. They pay every month. I'm not increasing their rent. They can stay there as long as they want, as long as they pay on time every month and they don't give me no problems. But if I have a tenant that is, undesirable, they're late every month, they're complaining all the time, the yard stays a mess, the house is a mess. You put it on your lease that you don't, y'all got to keep your yard clean too. But if something happens to where, it's an undesirable tenant for any reason, oh yeah, they'll get the 10% increase at the end of the year. It's just, something I thought I wanted to, kind of throw out there. Now I'm going to give you a list of things I think should go on a lease. There's plenty more things that you might want to put on there, stuff that's specific to you and your property, or the whole legal factions thing. But just to start off, you're writing up your lease. You want the names of all tenants in there. You want to make sure that all tenants know that they have a joint liability. And what a joint liability means, let's say it's a married couple, unmarried couple, whatever, it's a couple. Man and a woman, or whatever. Man and a woman. And it's just that you need to let them know it's just as much one of them's responsibility to pay as the other one. So let's say it's not even a couple. Let's just say it's a couple friends, this one's going to stay on this side of the house, this one's going to stay on that side of the house, blah, 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 but they're leasing it together. If one of them doesn't come up with their half of the rent, you can't say, well, he's got to go, but the other one can stay. No, they both got to get out. It's a done deal, so you got to put that joint liability clause in there. The term of tenancy, wow. This is a fun word. Tenancy. The term of tenancy. Just pretty much, let them know how long the lease lasts. It's a 1 year lease, 2 year lease, whatever that needs to be on the lease. the lease is up at this amount of time, and all your renewal information. Rent. So you need to have the amount that the rent is, the due date, a grace period if you're given one. So you say, typically I say rent's due on the 1st, it's late on the 5th. And where I'm at, if I ain't got it on the 5th, then the not notice to vacate, the pay or quit notice goes out on the 6th. Now, with that being said, I've got really good tenants in all my houses. They pay on the 1st, they pay on time every month. I got one out in the country in 2.5, 3 years that they've been there. They've been late twice. I'm not charging them a late fee. And, the reason I'm not charging them a late fee is because, they're never late. These people I'm renting my house next door. They're never late. They pay me on the 1st. The 1st of every month. They're running down here to pay me. If for some reason it was the 6th and and I ain't seen rent, hey, what's going on with the rent? And they tell me, and if it was some kind of hardship or something, I'd work with them because they are great people. They're great neighbors. They're great tenants. I'd work with them. Once again, if you got somebody in there that's late every month, charge them every month. I'd even go as far as to say, if you're putting late fees on your lease, don't say, oh, if it's not here on the 5th, then, it's an extra $20 or $50 this month. No. Don't do that. Say, instead of $50 for being late for the month, say it'll be $10 a day until I get my rent. Because, $10 a day, 30 days, that's $300. That's a whole lot more money in your pocket. And it says to them, well, if I'm a day late, then I got to pay $10. But I'm 2 days late, then I got to pay $20. It's an incentive for them to get you your money. It's not their money anymore. They're paying, that's their bill that they're not paying. So put on a lease something like $10, $15 a day for every day that it's late. And if they don't pay, let's say it's 2 days late to pay on the 7th, so they owe you $20 on top of the regular rent. If they bring you the regular rent, and they don't bring you the late fee continues until the following month. You see what I'm saying? But you want all that in your lease. You want everything spelled out, just in baby terms. Deposits and fees. You gotta have, it's $650 a month. You're paying, well, whatever, $800 a month, whatever the rent is. Excuse me. Well, actually, your deposit may be higher or lower. I don't know. Where I'm at, I can legally say the deposit's twice of 1 month's rent. I don't do that. I just say whatever 1 month's rent is, that's the deposit. Put in there that that deposit cannot be used towards the last month's rent. Some people, I probably should require last month's rent on top of the rental, so I should have first month's rent, last month's rent, and the deposit before you can move in. But I always do just the first month's rent and the deposit. And it works out pretty good for me. If during the lease signing, if they say, oh, well, I've got the first month's rent and I've got half the deposit, can I pay you the other half next month? That's all right. I'll just show it to somebody else. Don't worry about that. Because if they don't have the deposit right then, you'll never see it. You'll never get that deposit. So, up front, no. I'm sorry I ever even showed you the house. I didn't realize, that you're a piece of crap. Experience. Repairs and maintenance. All right. Maintenance, that's mainly on you. Something's gotten old, it ain't working no more. Go ahead and, I'll take care of that. Refrigerator's not working. I'll fix or repair the refrigerator. It's just an older refrigerator, blah, 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 blah. Stove, same thing. It could be a new one. You bought a new one and it's acting a little weird. What does it cost? $25, $30 to get somebody to go out there and look at it, and maybe a few parts, maybe some Freon or whatever. Yeah, I got that. Don't worry about it. Same thing with stove. if you supply a washer and dryer. This one's a little weird. Some people will say, they don't supply a washer and dryer. Like I say, I've thought about starting to supply a washer and dryer in every house that I lease out, and that way I can get a little increase on the rent, and it doesn't really cost me anything because I can write the price of the washer and dryer off. So write the washer and dryer off my taxes, increase the rent. It just seems like a good profit scenario for me. But if you supply it, it's got to be repaired. Get it repaired, replaced if have to. Whatever. The things don't last about 6 or 7 years, but if you're writing it off your taxes, it's kind of free. But whatever. That's not what I want to talk about. But do all your maintenance, repairs. If due to their negligence something has gotten broken, a window, there's a hole in the drywall, if there's a problem with the central air because, well, actually no, when you're doing the maintenance you need to replace, you as a landlord need to replace the air filters every 3 months, and I'm going to get to that too in a minute, so you can't really claim that one. But yeah, any negligence that should be put on them. It should be in the lease that this was broken because of you, and I'll need X amount of dollars extra on next month's rent to fix this problem that you've caused. Also, time must be made available for the repair to be made. And do not do that work yourself. Get somebody else to do that because you want it done nice and you want it done professionally, and they're going to pay for it anyway. Let's see. Inspections and schedule. All right, so I should have worded that difference. Scheduled inspections. Put it in there that you're going to do an inspection on the house every 3 months. Do not take no for an answer on this. Every 3 months you are going to go in, look at the house, make sure there's no leaky pipes. That's going to end up ruining your floor and your subfloor and costing you a lot of money down the road. That's while you're there, and put this in your lease agreement, the size of the air filters to the HVAC system. That way, you've got the air filter on hand when you go in there to replace it every 3 months. See, and I mean, you're not going in there to make sure they're being, good people or whatever. Now, like I've done some repairs maintenance repairs. I've had some leaky pipes at the house next to me a couple of times, busted pipes for whatever reason. I know the reason. It's a crappy pipe, but I'll just snip it out, fix it, And I go in there, and they upstairs, immaculate, beautiful upstairs. Downstairs, most of that's immaculate, but they still have some boxes that they never unpack. It's just stuff that they want to keep, but they don't really want around the house. And every time I go in there, she's like, "I'm so sorry, I haven't unpacked this." And it's like, I don't care. It's not like there's a bunch of roaches and rats and stuff running around down here. It's just, this is y'all's stuff, and I understand. So I go down there and I repair the pipes and go on about my business. But when you go in to do, to change the air filter, you look around, make sure, they're not growing, they don't have a drug lab set up in there or anything like that. And you just check all your check all your pipes, look around in the ceiling to make sure there's no stains, water coming in from rain or anything like that. And the reason I say for you to do this is I heard a story. This never happened to me, but I heard a story. It was a landlord, owned a house, and the guy says, "Well, I'll change the air filters, and you don't have to come around. If anything breaks, I'll let you know, And he said, called him, and he says, anything going on in the house? He says, no, nothing real, no big deal, nothing, anything, it's got a little, no big deal, nothing I can't handle. And, eventually the guy went in for some other reason, and he says back in the back bedroom or whatever, there was a bucket sitting in there, and he says, "What's this bucket for?" And he says, "Oh, occasionally, when it's raining, water will drip through the ceiling, and I just put a bucket there, it's no big deal." Well, it is a big deal. Now you done rotted your ceiling out, destroyed the drywall, the joists above it, they've got water damage, so put it, you do the maintenance or have a maintenance guy go in and do it. Do not let the tenants change the air filter, and don't trust anybody. You know, blah blah blah. So it's scheduled inspections. Pets. I don't allow pets in my house. You might do it, and if you do, I understand why you would do it. You put an extra pet deposit on the house. Something ridiculous. That way, if there's any pet damage, then you charge a pet fee every month. And you make a little extra money. Let's say the pet fee is $50 a month. Yeah, you can have a cat or a dog less than X amount of pounds, and your pet fee will be $50 a month. That's $600 a year. Put in your pocket. Any damages caused by the pet, you've got a deposit. You've got a huge pet deposit on top of that. And because of the huge pet deposit, they will not let the pet destroy the house. Put the pet deposit in there if you decide you do want to let pets in the house. Because that pet fee is going to have them thinking, well, I'm paying a pet fee, so it can destroy the house, pee on the walls, whatever. Huge deposit, enough to replace carpets, flooring, everything. Just some ridiculous number, as high as you can legally make it. Put that much of a deposit. I don't allow pets. I don't allow pets in my house. And I might be, subject to change. Somebody might change my mind about that. I've got a cat, blah 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 blah. But I doubt it. But I still have to put a clause. I still have to put a clause in my lease about pets, because if I find a pet in the house, I'm not going to like that. So I'll put in there that if a pet is on the property, then there will be nothing ridiculous, maybe $20 a day fee until the pet is gone. So that's not $20 a month. That's not, hey, the pet can be gone in 2 weeks and everything will be fine. It's $20 a day until the pet's gone. So $20 a day, 30 days a week, was it like $600? Oh yeah. Yeah, if y'all want to, y'all can keep the pet there. I don't care. $600 a month, $7,200 a year. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, this one's going to be tough for me to say. I got a southern accent, and it don't work good with it. Severability. Severability is a legal term saying that, and you should put this maybe at the heading of the lease possibly, but it's pretty much saying that if something in this lease was found to be illegal, as a mistake on your part, or you made the lease up, you make a lease up today, 5 years from now something else pops up, then that whatever you said is no longer legal. But you've been using the same lease over and over and over again. Severability. If anything on this lease is illegal, the rest of the lease still applies, excluding the illegal part. And that's to help you out in court. Because you take it before a judge, the judge might say, well, this part right here is illegal, and then throw out the whole lease, and now you've got nothing protecting you. So, put the severability clause in there. Subleasing, put something in there about subleasing. I don't allow it, but you might. You might say, yeah, well, you can sublease, but it's going to cost you an extra blah 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 amount each month if you're intent on doing that. I don't allow it because this is what I have in my mind. Somebody's going to lease a house from me. They're going to furnish the house, and then they're going to put it on Airbnb. And all I have is my little small 1 month's deposit, and then somebody who isn't leasing the house is going to show up for about a week, throw a bunch of parties, wreck the place, and the person leasing from us is like, well, I ain't paying for it, and I don't allow subleasing. Number 10 I wrote down. It says default. I'm not real sure what I was thinking when I wrote that down on my list. Lease renewal, we already talked about that. You want to, tell them that it's going to increase, by X amount the next time when they renew the lease. But surrender of premises. All right, surrender of premises. This is a good one. You want to put it at the end of the lease that the house will be clean the next time you go in there. Like they're moving out on November 30th. All right. And December 1st, you go over the house, you want that thing spotless. You want it just like it was. If it isn't spotless, then, a cleaning fee which will be you will call somebody. You don't do this yourself. You will call somebody. They come in and clean it, and that comes off of their deposit. So make sure you put that in there. That when they leave the premises, it must be cleaned. They can't leave a bunch of junk sitting in there. You know, the carpets can't be nasty. Floor better be mopped. I don't want spider webs hanging all over everywhere. And then at the bottom of your lease, signatures. Your signature, their signatures. Like I say, if it's me, it's me and my wife. So I'm place where I sign, place where my wife signs. Each one of the people, each one of the tenants with a joint liability, each one of them. You can't make a minor sign a lease, I don't think. If you can, I don't. So, you know, blah, 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 blah. And that's pretty much all I got to say about lease agreements. Like, subscribe, share. I hope this helps you out, and I will talk to you soon.